Welcome, Annie Collins here for the Makers Movement. Today we'll be creating this lovely Christmas card. Let's go over the products I used to create this card. From the Makers Movement, the Classic Christmas Stamp Set. This stamp set has two images. One is a cluster of snowflakes and one is some beautiful holiday florals. Has three large sentiments like Merry Christmas, Let Heaven and Nature Sing, Be Joyful. Has two smaller ones. One says, May your Christmas be merry and bright, and the other one says, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It also has a to and from, perfect for your tags. Today we'll be using the Be Joyful. We'll also be bringing in from the Makers Movement the Winter Foliage die set. We'll be using the holly leaf and the holly berries for this card. We'll be also using from Imagine Crafts embossed powder and lucky stars. I went ahead and stamped and embossed our sentiment to save us some time today. Here's a good look at this embossing powder. It's a beautiful shimmery green. Okay. From my stash, I have some foiled elements. I have a foiled with ruby slippers, red candy cane stripe panel. I have a top folding A size card, and the inside sentiment is a foiled piece, which is foiled with gold foil paper here. So those are from my stash, and I'll show them to you in a little bit. So I went ahead and die cut our pieces so we can save some time. Here are our holly leaves, and I used some My Mind's Eye Christmas paper called Oh What Fun. It's a double-sided paper, but we're just going to use these little white polka dots on the green. And these have, I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but beautiful texture or embossing on the leaves. And I use red cardstock, a nice deep red here, for our berries. Alright, I'm also going to bring in some Nuvo drops in white. These are the Nuvo drops glitter in white blizzard, and I'll also bring in some jewel drops in key lime in a little bit. So I'm going to clear everything off my desk so we can get started on putting our card together. Like I said, this is a foiled panel that I had in my stash, and I'm just going to adhere this to our card base. This is foiled with ruby slippers craft foil, and that was from Creative Vision. They're no longer in business, but any red foil will work beautifully. Then I have our stamped and embossed our stamped and embossed sentiment, which I'm using some low profile foam tape to go ahead and attach it to our card front. And I'm going to do my best to get this in the center. So I'm going to remove the backing here, put this in the center because I want our holly to be surrounding our sentiment. So I get it there as centered as possible. Nope, gotta adjust it. Once I get it where I want it, now I'm going to add our holly to our card panel. First, I want to adhere them together, creating sort of a V formation. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive right here to from the little tip, just a little bit down, just like that. So I'm going to create, it's like a little V shape, and that'll be easier to adhere them to the card. Now I'm going to slide the bottom one just under the sentiment panel. And I did use a stitched rectangle to cut out my sentiment panel. Alright, so there I'm going to adhere our hollies to the top. So I'm definitely going to stick this one just under, like I said before. And then I'll add the top ones. But I want the top ones to be popped up on some craft foam. But before I do that, I'm going to attach our little holly berries to the bottom one. I'm going to tuck two of them just under the panel and put one on top. Just tucking them under, creating that nice tri-berry cluster that you see in hollow berries. Okay, so now it's time to attach our top one. I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape to that. I'm sorry, I'm off screen. Just adding foam tape to the back. And I'm just going to just tuck it right there. We have a little bit of overhang, but it's not so much that I need to cut anything off. It fits in the envelope. And then I'm going to add the little drops for our berries. And create our little cluster right here. Now I always cut more than I need, but that's okay because I save them for other projects. Okay, so now we have our holly and berries here. Now to add a little shimmer to our berries, I'm going to go ahead and use the Nuvo drops in White Blizzard. Just adding it just to the berries. And I'm not making them where they're raised drops. I'm just kind of, just adhering, almost like glitter. Trying to keep it as smooth as possible. I just want them to shimmer. If you don't have Nuvo drops, then you can use, but you have a Winged Stella, you could use that. And of course, this is totally optional. You don't have to use either one of those if you don't like anything glittery. So now I'm going to pull in some Nuvo Jewel drops. This is a translucent and this is in key lime. And I'm just going to put little drops on our leaves to almost look like, it's wet. Like little dewdrops. These I'm actually putting little dimensional drops, but they're really tiny. So I'm putting 2 on one leaf and 1 on another. Tapping them out so they go nice and flat. And now for our inside sentiment, which is a foil sentiment, which reads, wishing you the wonderful gifts of faith, hope, peace, and love at Christmas and always. This is also, I used a little stitched rectangle die to cut that out from the panel. And that's foiled with gold foil. And I just use my laminator for it. Alright, so here we are, we're all done with our card. And I'm not going to add anything extra because we have enough shimmer and shine between the foil and the Nuvo drops. So again, we use our winter foliage, the holly and the berries. The classic Christmas stamp set, we use the Be Joyful Sentiment with our embossing powder, which is the Lucky Stars from Imagine Crafts. The Nuvo drops in crystal, in jewel, in key lime, and in glitter and White Blizzard. Just to add a little bit of shimmer. As always, I'll have everything linked below. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration.